Call the meeting to order here at 10 o'clock, and rise if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thanks, everyone. Do we have any public here for comment for items that don't appear on today's agenda? At this point, I pretty much know everybody in the room, so we're probably good on that one. Commissioner Concepcion and Commissioner Dershowitz, any additions to the agendas?
Not that I'm aware.
All right. Well, we will move to an announcement. Mitzi from CEDACOG is here to talk about our 2023 Community Development Block Grant Program application kickoff. Very important for a lot of the rural parts of the county.
Yes, good morning. So the kickoff letter is scheduled to be mailed out to the municipalities and the authorities and the nonprofits in the county April 21st. So traditionally, we have prepared this letter for the commissioners to sign, and then we mail this out to all of the municipalities and authorities. And it's just announcing the kickoff of the 23 application. DCD has not released the actual allocations, but based on last year, it's estimated the county to receive $346,000. So that is for all of the municipalities of the county, excluding State College Borough and Bellefonte Borough, because they have their own allocations to spend within their borough for their own projects. The first hearing for the county is scheduled for May 11th at 6 p.m. here in the Commissioner's Room. And that's really all I have, just for the letter for you to sign and just to make the announcement that the CDBG program is opening for 2023.
And maybe for the benefit of the press and the folks at home, can you give us a very brief description of the type of projects Center County has done in the recent past with our community development?
Sure. CDBG funding has to be used to benefit low, moderate income residents of the county. So it is all based on income surveys or census data. And traditionally, the county likes to fund water and sewer projects. Center County has very rural areas. A lot are still on well systems. So CDBG usually works very well in those communities. You're currently working on a project in Haynes Woodward for the residents of the Haynes Woodward Municipal Authority that is bringing a new well online and upgrading their water system. Unionville Borough just completed a project to install a new water tank that again assists their water system. And then you have a very large competitive project going on in Haynes-Aaronsburg Municipal Authority to upgrade their water system, replace a very rusty, old, antiquated iron pipe.
And then the project we're doing at the Old Greg School, which is a community center, was that the same pot of CDBG money?
That's your 2022 funding, so we are still waiting for the contract. DCD takes a long time to review and process and contract once the application was submitted. So that project will be kicking off and probably going to bid late this year.
So it's not exclusively water and sewer. We have done some community centers as well.
Yes, infrastructure, again, almost anything can be done eligibility-wise with CDBG. It's fundability because you have to ensure that you are benefiting low, moderate income residents.
Great, thanks, Mitzi. Any questions from Commissioner Concepcion? Commissioner Dershowitz?
I actually have one.
Sure.
How do they determine the competitive CBD, Community Development Block Grant money, pardon me? How do they determine what that pot of money looks like and how much is in it?
That's recaptured money usually, and unfortunately DCED in 2015 had a HUD monitoring because the funding originates from HUD, so DCD gets monitored just like DCED comes here to monitor Center County. They had a very large payback, close to $40 million, so the competitive funding in the last couple years has been very small. There used to be large pots, $30 million to do very large projects, but the last 3 years they have had $5 million to spread across the entire Commonwealth. So it is usually recaptured money, money that does not get spent and then is reallocated to a competitive fund.
So there isn't a allocated amount of money for those projects?
Correct. It's all recaptured from the entitlement years that does not get spent.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Thank you.
It seems like it's CEDACOG month here in March. Lots of CEDACOG things going on. So now we'll move to item number 6, proclamations. As somebody mentioned, this is potentially the most important proclamation of the year. Proclamation number 8 of 2023, proclaiming April as National County Government and Center County Employee Appreciation Month in Center County. Obviously, from the commissioner and administrator's viewpoint, county staff do amazing work. We actually do it with fewer people than most other counties of our size. And yet, when Amber and I were up in Snowshoe yesterday, we already received one compliment from a county employee completely at random, Ron Williams, who does our weights and measures work. I just bumped into him in the hallway. Our Children and Youth Department is utilized statewide as an example of how to run a quality children and youth program. We have a strong planning department. We have a great new finance director. We've always had a strong finance department, works closely with our treasurer and controller, who also are county departments. Strong correctional facility, working together with the commissioners, the judges, the DA, all the other stakeholders involved. We've reduced the number of incarcerated individuals from Center County at that facility by about 50% over the last 9 years. No other county can say that. And I could go on and on and on, but I should let the other commissioners have a chance to talk too.
Yeah, just so much appreciation for all that you do. I know some of these jobs are really intense, emotional, personal kind of jobs, working with families and kids in need. And that kind of work, I know, takes a toll, and we see the work that you're doing, and we know how important it is and how vital it is for our community. So.
We have almost 600 employees, and every one of them does a piece of the work that we rely on here in Center County. And a lot of that work's really not seen and really recognized by a lot of our residents and citizens. But ultimately, what we have here is a pretty amazing team with 35 departments that all work together to make a lot of good things happen, whether it's the corrections, whether it's the courts, whether it's maintenance, whether it's a variety of other human services, 911. I mean,
Yeah,
it just goes
it's
on and
critical.
on. The sheriff's department, it goes on and on and on. You could list all 35 of them, but together, and elections, which we think we only think of them a couple times a year, but they're working hard all year round, and we work closely with the state government. We work closely with the federal government. We work with the municipalities and make sure, as we just saw with community development block grant funds, we all work together to make sure a lot of good things happen. And the planners are really the kind of the lead force in that conversation. So what we really are proud of most is the fact that we have such an amazing team. We all work together and get a lot of good things done for the citizens of Center County. So
I agree.
Yeah, it's kind of quiet government. You don't know the county is there, but we're doing our job every day.
until you need a dog license or you
Yes.
need
You have to call 911.
or to call 911 or something, and then all of a sudden we become very relevant. So
Yes.
it's all good.
John, anything you want to add?
I just couldn't be more proud of the folks that I work with on a daily basis. I'm truly impressed and honored to be a part of such an incredible team.
Thanks. Thank you. Well, are you ready for, should we pass the proclamation, then do the photo?
Yes.
Why don't we do it then? All right. Can we have a motion?
I will move to adopt Proclamation 8 of 2023, proclaiming April 2023 as National County Government and Center County Employee Appreciation Month.
I will second that. And I would also ask that we read the proclamation, because that's a big one for us, and I think it's an opportunity for us to highlight
Need
it.
to read it before we vote on it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
How do we know what we're voting on?
County of Center, Proclamation number 8 of 2023. Whereas the nation's 3,069 counties serve more than 300 million Americans, providing essential services to create healthy, safe, vibrant, and economically resilient communities. And whereas counties move progress forward by providing healthcare and human services, administering justice, keeping communities safe, creating economic opportunities, and much more. And whereas Center County and all counties take pride in the responsibility to protect and enhance the health, well-being, and safety of its residents in efficient and cost-effective ways. And did you bring you have your readers?
Well, yeah, right here.
Right there. No, for you.
Oh,
You just pass it around.
oh, geez, we're gonna,
Do it. All right. So
where am I?
I left off right here.
Okay.
So you do a couple paragraphs, and we'll pass it over to Amber.
Whereas the employees of Center County government provide a broad array of services, including human services, election and voter registration, emergency communications and response, property assessment, transportation, court administration, criminal justice, land use, economic and environmental planning, and GIS assistance for the citizens of Center County. And whereas the nearly 600 county employees strive daily to perform their jobs with professionalism and integrity in order to improve the lives of all citizens. And the whereas with the Center County Board of Commissioners. We will share the proclamation.
Whereas the Center County Board of Commissioners acknowledges the hard work, dedication, and leadership its employees exhibit on a daily basis across all departments and offices of Center County government, and whereas the National Association of Counties designates April as a time to highlight the services of county government. Now therefore be it resolved that the Center County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim April 2023 as National County Government and Center County Employee Appreciation Month and recognizes all county officials and employees for their contributions.
There you go.
So that's what we're voting on.
Yes, perfect.
Yep.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of proclaiming April 2023 as National County Government and Center County Employee Appreciation Month, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Obviously, we have no nays. The motion is, the proclamation is approved, and let's do a quick photo then.
I hear the administrators in the back really want to be in the picture.
Lee?
Well, I'm not gonna be the only one.
Come on, you guys. Don't be shy.
I was like, Aaron represents us great.
I think Leah should be in this picture.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Come on, Leah.
We're all up here.
Huddle in front. I'll be the thorn among the roses. Oh, man. You said we could let Dave in the picture.
I don't know, John called me in, Tracy.
All right.
Move back, John.
Let's all snuggle in here. John should be in this picture. Maybe we get somebody else to take this photo. John.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, John. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Let's see,
Come on.
somebody, come on, John.
Can't let the fearless leader out of this picture.
Come on, John, get in here with us.
I won't bite you.
Can you fit us all in there?
Yeah, if you put it on camera or not. Something.
Why,
Something.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Well, your first official action. Thanks, Aaron, for humoring us.
Yes.
All right. For the record, this is the most important proclamation until the next proclamation.
All right. So we'll now move on to bids and proposals. I think
Okay.
Lee has some information about the Center County Courthouse roof restoration IFB bid results that were received by deadline. If you could also kind of describe which part of the courthouse roof we're doing, that'd be great.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so we're talking about the rear portion of the 1963 edition of the courthouse. This is the flat rubber portion in the rear, and this is a restoration project, not a complete tear off and removal and replacement. So, so we completed the mandatory pre-bid. Four contractors were on site. We did receive 3 complete proposals back with that. So today we are asking to enter into contract negotiations for that IFB to keep that project moving along.
All right, I see we had 3 bidders who did turn in all the paperwork, R.H. Marcon of State College, David M. Maines Associates of Lewistown, and Detweiler Roofing of East Earl, Pennsylvania.
That is correct. And they're all, like I said, Tremco approved, affiliated. So two of them, obviously Marcon and Maines, we are very familiar with, have done business with in the past. Detweiler, the third, again, when I speak of these projects, I rely on the manufacturer, and they've worked with a lot of these contractors, for years. So, yeah, I have no hesitation on any of them, so.
Commissioner Concepcion, any question?
No, so at this part, you'll be negotiating with those that provided their bids, right?
Correct, yes.
And this is the same type of roof that we have here on the Willowbank building?
Yes, yeah, the finish will be the exact same, the same as we have here on the AlphaGuard material, yes.
Now, we have to ask the obvious question.
Yes, obviously.
Since it's spring and the birds have migrated back north, how are we doing up there with remediation of the vulture
Great,
population?
no issues. I haven't seen any on the roof, you know what I mean? So, and obviously, we've had no issues with any damage or anything of that nature, so.
That's what we
Yeah.
want to hear.
Yes.
When I've been out on the roof, even on a particularly partial sunny day, when you step off of the roof into the penthouse, you sort of take a minute to adjust your eyes because it's white, as we wanted the reflection. We're not, so, but yeah, it's doing its job right now. So yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Good, yeah, important point there, Steve. Didn't think we'd be so concerned about migratory black vultures, but we are. Okay, well, unless there's any other questions, can we have a motion?
I will move to enter into contract negotiations for the IFB Center County Courthouse roof restoration.
We have a motion and a second to approve entering into contract negotiations for the Center County Courthouse roof restoration. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay, motion carries. Thanks, Lee.
Thank you.
All right, and then under contracts, our first contract is for the Center County Correctional Facility, and I see Glenn's already ready to talk about the purchase of a tractor to replace the one that doesn't work anymore.
Yes, good morning, everyone. We're seeking approval to purchase a new tractor, Kubota from Daughter Equipment. This is replacing a 17-year-old tractor that is in need of repairs that will cost more than the value of the tractor. So had some discussions with Lee and Dusty about the need for the tractor, and they both said we do need it. So we received two quotes, and Daughters is a CoStar's vendor. We went with the lowest quote, and we're requesting your approval to purchase the tractor.
Answered my question about if it was a CoStar's bid or not. Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
Sounds like it needs to be done.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
We're good.
All right.
I'll move to approve the purchase of a Kubota tractor from Daughter Equipment Incorporated.
I will second that.
All right. All those in favor of approving the purchase of a Kubota tractor from Daughter Equipment do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Kubota.
Kubota.
Kubota,
I'm like,
okay.
I think I said it right the first time, but I didn't say it right the second time.
I need to apologize. I did not see Glenn standing out there. I would have included him with
I'm
the.
good, I'm not a photogenic
What?
person.
Oh, but you're really important.
I apologize,
Special
Glenn.
photo opportunity.
Yeah, you're the representative of our biggest department. All right. Thanks, Glenn.
I'll get a photo during corrections because.
Okay, that sounds good.
Make it.
Yeah. All right. Our next one will be for 911 emergency communications, and that's with John.
Thank you. This is for a contract addendum with WeatherTap, which provides our licensing for real-time weather radar, which is typically used in 911 and emergency centers. We have asked for a couple additional licenses, which would give us this ability in the Commissioner's office as well, since we monitor weather and how it affects the employees and things of that nature. So this would add a couple licenses.
Good. Would you maybe have access to one now so that you could potentially help call the weather when we close?
Yes, that's
Good.
the idea. We will actually have a monitor in the Commissioner's office, and we'll have real-time weather.
All right. Wonderful. All right. Any questions, Commissioner Concepcion?
That sounds helpful
Yep.
for safety reasons.
That's good. All right. That's just the weather, so
We get what we get.
we get what we get.
I will move to add the contract addendum number 1 with WeatherTap to next week's consent agenda.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the contract addendum with WeatherTap, do so by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, now we'll move over to the Controller's Office. We have a contract renewal with Corn Ferry. How bad you beat them up, Jason?
Pretty good, pretty good. No. So, yeah, thank you. I'm here today to talk about a contract renewal with our actuary, Corn Ferry. This is for a monthly rate of $2,464 to total for the year of $29,568. For those that aren't aware of what services the actuary provides for our retirement system, they provide retirement final quotes for all of our retirees from the county. They provide the retirement board with our valuation report, which also is our calculation for our actuarially determined contribution, which is the county's contribution into the retirement plan each year. And they also provide additional advice and answers to questions for the board to help to make determinations regarding our investments and any of the ratios for those investments. While this is a 3% increase over previous years, it's the first increase in 3 years. And to put that into some perspective of the overall plan, because of some moves the retirement board, which is myself, the 3 commissioners, and the treasurer made over the past year and a half, our fees in 2021 on the entire retirement plan went from $648,000 in 2021 to $170,000 in 2022. So we saved almost $500,000 in fees just between those 2 years.
I knew we had saved a fair bit of money, Jason, but I didn't realize it was that high of a percentage. I mean, that's something like 75%.
That's correct.
Savings. And we're getting the same level of service, if anything, maybe a little bit better, but we moved to an organization that manages multi-billions of dollars of assets. So.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty significant savings.
And thank you for helping spearhead that project. I remember the amount of data we were crunching to try to pick the best family of services for retirement and our retired former employees.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
That sounds tremendous, yeah. They're doing good work, so.
We just have to get the stock market to cooperate with us.
Well,
That's next.
Yeah.
I'm working on that next.
Jason,
I'll see what I can
that's
do.
your next task.
doing what we can. Any other questions, Commissioner Dershowitz? All right, we have a motion then.
So I'll move to approve the contract with Corn Ferry.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the contract with Corn Ferry. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. Find some other stuff we can save 70% on. That
See
would
what
be
I can
great.
do.
You're welcome. Now we'll move over to Human Services, Children and Youth, and Leah, who didn't want to have her photo taken, is back up at the podium.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Day to day. Good morning. So I am here to ask for your consideration for the contract renewal with Sign Language Specialists of Western PA Incorporated. So this is a service that provides our sign language interpretation for our hearing impaired dependent youth and their families. It's necessary for us to have this contract. We don't serve a lot of families that fall into this population, but when we do, we need to have a contract with a provider that is approved by the Office of Disabilities in order to make sure we're meeting all the regulatory requirements and requirements to ensure that those families are receiving the appropriate services. The other contract that I have for your approval is a contract with People Are Us Community Residential Services to provide foster care services for delinquent and dependent youth. This is a placement facility that's located just outside of Philadelphia. They have 2 homes in Philadelphia County. They are kind of known for taking our more difficult youth. So they specialize in the LGBTQ population as well as children who have extensive trauma and mental health histories. Their daily per diem is roughly around $300 a day. So it speaks to their level of services that they provide and the difficult kids that they are able to have in their home. Currently, we have 1 youth who is placed within their facility that we are working with them to sustain and then hopefully be able to discharge him to another less restrictive and more appropriate placement resource.
Thanks, Leah. Some of the stories with the more difficult children we work with here in Sutter County are absolutely heartbreaking because, you know, they were just born. They didn't ask to have all these horrible trauma-inducing things done to them, in many cases by their parents. So thank you for all the work your employees do in those circumstances. Commissioner Concepcion.
So this, you probably only have so many choices to choose from when you're looking at these kind of residential programs for for youth that have these kind of complex needs, but you feel that this is a placement that is inappropriate, that they do take good care.
Yes, they are able to take good care. This is, when we have our more complex children that are placed, it is an extensive process to be able to locate a police resource that is willing to take them. When it is a provider, especially provider that is new to us, we do a lot of intensive follow-up. So we're doing weekly meetings. We are going down there multiple times a month to ensure that our children's needs are being met and to be able to build a rapport with that placement provider, especially when it's one that we don't necessarily utilize frequently. We want to make sure that we're building some connections and keeping our eyes and ears active in that home as well.
That's good to hear.
I guess I would just say thank you for reaching out, probably beyond your normal network of folks, to make sure that we have our children taken care of properly, and appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, we have a motion now.
I will move to add the Children and Youth Services Contracts 1 and 2 to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the children and youth contracts 1 and 2 for next week's consent agenda, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks, Leah.
Thank you.
All right. Now we'll move on to liquid fuels and fee for local use. John will be covering this one.
Thank you again. Before you is liquid fuels reimbursement request in the amount of $243.15 to Center County for the 2022 costs related to the traffic light located at Richel Hill Road. This is strictly for the electric consumption at the signal. The way the agreement is written up is that we pay the bill for the electric and then we get reimbursed through liquid fuels.
As I remember, John, the original reason for putting that light in was the Center County Correctional Facility was just about the only business on that side of Richel Hill Road at the time.
And that has changed.
That has changed. Commissioner Concepcion, any comment?
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Commissioner Dozier?
I think we should probably give some sort of consideration to Better Township to maybe allow them the opportunity to own the light, so Center County can no longer own the one traffic light that we do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we can
Hopefully
have a conversation.
Yeah, hopefully we can have
Yes.
John start that conversation in the near future.
It's underway.
Good.
We're seeing
It would seem logical that
Yes.
we should be out of the traffic light business.
we're seeing a lot more development on Benner Pike nowadays.
Yep.
All right, we have a motion then.
I'll move to approve the liquid fuels reimbursement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the liquid fuels reimbursement, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. And now we'll move on to our consent agenda, which is relatively short. Any questions? No, we'll just take a motion then.
I will move to approve this week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving this week's consent agenda, do so by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, that's the end of our consent agenda. We will move on to CNET requests. We have a request to sponsor the taping of the 2023 Ron and Mary Maxwell Community Spelling Bee on Wednesday, September 27th. I would be lucky to make it through the first round on something like that, but I am happy to help pay for the taping of it. Any comments, Commissioner Concepcion?
Yeah, where does this take place then? Do you know? Is it a local, it's a local?
Yes, it's a
Ask
local
Aaron,
event.
probably. It's definitely in Center
Event?
County.
Yeah. I can get you the information.
It used to be in the State College Borough.
I was gonna say, I think they said it's gonna be via Zoom again this year.
Oh,
Really? Okay.
All right. Well, have to keep your hands
Have a
in
full-blown-
front
I
of
was
the
gonna
camera the whole
say,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It used to be at the State College Municipal Building.
That's what I thought, yeah.
I've actually been to it a couple of times back,
that sounds
a while back.
really fun. Yeah.
Any other comments, Commissioner?
Nope, no, I think it's a great program for kids.
Good, good. Then we could have a motion.
I'll move to approve the CNET sponsorship for the 2023 Ron and Mary Maxwell Community Spelling Bee.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the CNET sponsorship for the 2023 Ron and Mary Maxwell Community Spelling Bee, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to an average size check run from Amber.
So one of the checks I'm going to point out on this week's check run is with SendClear Services. This is the service providing early intervention for the youngest residents of our community, and we know how critical those services are to their success in school and well-being as they get older. So with that, I will move to approve the check run dated March 24th, 2023.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the $1,565,879.99 check run dated March 24th. All those in favor do so by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Do we have an administrator's report?
Nothing to report at this time.
All right. Move it over to Steve for the voter registration report.
Okay, as of this morning, we have 99,811 registered voters in Center County. That's up 13 from last report. We have 42,046 Democratic registrations, 132 Green Party, 609 Libertarian. We have 13,328 no affiliation, and 40,573 Republican voters, which when you add the 3,123 all others, gives you the total of 99,811. The feature small party today is the centrist party. And the centrist party would have a hard time splitting its vote because there's only one of them. So we will recognize the one centrist. And then I would like to recognize for this week precinct number 4, which is Bellefonte Southeast, which votes at the Faith United Methodist Church in Bellefonte. And in the last election, there were 950 registered voters. There were 624 total ballots cast, which leads to a percentage turnout of 65.68%. And not a bad turnout for an election cycle. And I'd also like to thank the folks at the Faith Church for allowing us the opportunity to use their facility, the folks that make it happen. And a little known fact of the Faith United Methodist Church is they were instrumental in the formation of the Faith Center. That was the genesis of the Faith Center, where folks from the church got together and recognized a need, and that facility has been a tremendous contributor to the quality of life in Center County, and we'd like to recognize that as well. So thanks, Faith Church, and thanks for all the folks that make it happen in Precinct 4.
All right, and no announcements for the elections at this point?
No, not at this point, no.
Primary coming up in about a month and a half.
There's something coming up. I can't remember what that might be.
All right, any executive sessions to report or hold, Scott?
No executive sessions to report or hold.
We'll move on to the public meeting schedule. We, of course, we have the Board of Commissioners work session at 11 o'clock this morning. We have on Thursday, we have the Finance Committee at 9. Next week, Tuesday, the regular Board of Commissioners meeting at 10. And then on Thursday, the 6th of April, we have the 10 o'clock Board of Commissioners and Salary Board combined meetings. Any questions from the press? Just one press, in person anyway. All right, looks like there's no questions from the press. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Can we have a motion and a second to adjourn at 10:33? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. We are adjourned.